Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liangming. Homage to Master Sakya Zengkung. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Tupten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today, Padma Kumara. Sumo, Tanchen Katso, all Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma lecturers, Dhamma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Our participating VIPs today are Taipei Rep to Sweden and Norway, Ambassador Dongzhou Liao's wife, Dharma Sister Judy, Accountant to Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa, PR Director of True Buddha School Taiwan Temple, Dharma Brother Fermi Wang, good afternoon, everyone. How do you do? First, let's announce for next Sunday, which is March 8th. It is the Parinirvana anniversary of Sakyamuni Buddha, March 8th. And Sunday, 3 p.m., we will perform Sakyamuni Buddha's Homa fire offering ceremony. And Sakyamuni Buddha is the founder of Buddhism, so there's no need to introduce him. The leader and founder of Buddhism and of samsara. And all the Buddha Dharma came from him. In this world. So whether you want to become primary supplicants or not, it's up to you. So this is related to the leader of Buddhism, founder of Buddhism. And he has two mudras, Sakyamuni Buddha's mudras. The inner three mountain mudra, or the outer three mountain mudra. This is the mudra. And the outer three mountain mudras. So the index fingers and the pinkies and the thumbs are straight upright, and the other two fingers are clasping, either inwardly or outwardly. I'm sorry, the middle fingers, pinkies, middle fingers, and thumbs. And this image is endowed with 32 marks. The mantra. Om Mani Muni Mahamuni Sakyamuni Soha. That's his heart mantra. And today we perform Padma Kumara, and we all know about him. There's no need to explain too much. And his origins was also extremely sublime and supreme. And one of them, as in Tantric Buddhism, we have the Great Perfection Dharma, which belongs to Nyingmapa, the highest Dharma. And then Mahamudra, that belongs to Kagyuba, the highest Dharma there. And for Sakyapa, it was Lamdre. So what I am expounding now, Lamdre, is considered the highest Dharma practice in Sakyapa. And in Galupa, Yamantaka is the highest Dharma there. And so Mahamudra of Kagyupa and Great Perfection or Dokchen of Nyingmapa are very similar to each other. So for this Great Perfection Dharma and Mahamudra Dharma were transmitted by the Adharma Buddha. And the lineage of Mahamudra was from Adharma Buddha to the Pao Yi youth, or precious mind youth. So, and the second lineage was the Pao Yi youth. And Pao Yi youth was also Padma Kumara. So the earliest Padma Kumara was Pao Yi youth and Pao Sang youth. And so Mahamudra, that belongs to Kagyupa, their patriarch guru or lineage guru was also Padma Kumara. So therefore, in the Tonghuang grottos, there is Padma Kumara in almost all of the caves. Prior to Grandmaster mentioning about Padma Kumara, nobody ever mentioned him. And after Grandmaster was talking about Padma Kumara, there followed many people talking about Padma Kumara. This is very interesting. So today, let's continue to talk about Lamdre. So it's mentioned here about the 4 basic marks or symbol. The quote, the 5 fingers gather and press together. The thumb and ring fingers perform the ritual, form the victorious body mudra, and the 4 fingers symbolizes the sky. And for the vase empowerment, the 5 fingers of the left hand press against each other, gather, and the 4 finger of the right hand is placed on top of it. The gathered fingers symbolize the universal empowerment of the 5 Buddhas, and the gathering finger symbolizes the Guru's empowerment, for a total of 6 symbols. For secret empowerment, after knowing the cause, during the secret empowerment, place your left thumb and ring finger together like the Indian sign of Dharma origin, and use them to get the empowerment item and then place it on top of the tongue. What is this mark for? It is the Adabo Vida from the 4 Vedas, which is placing the bodhicitta on top of the tongue. Third, the wisdom empowerment. The mark for the third empowerment is the right forefinger as the method or skillful means, interlaced with the left forefinger as the wisdom, to symbolize the dual execution of methods and wisdom, and as the mark of non-leaking bodhicitta. It is called the most victorious body of emptiness and bliss, is the undifferentiated mudra. For the 4th empowerment, the mark of the 4th empowerment is the right forefinger points and circles around the sky to symbolize the great bliss. Dharmakaya is like the sky. These are the 4 root or basic marks. So, the 4 mudras for the 4 empowerments, these are what it's about. Each of the schools are different. In Sakyapa, the first mudra for the vase empowerment is like this. Gather all the 5 fingers for your left hand, and the right hand. Which finger? The forefinger. Yes. So the forefinger of the right hand is placed on top of the vase. This is the symbol for the vase empowerment, which is the first empowerment. And the second empowerment is the secret empowerment. This is the mudra. And the third empowerment, like this, for the wisdom empowerment. It's like this. The 4th empowerment the right forefinger circles toward the sky to symbolize the great bliss. Dharmakaya is like the sky. My guru taught me this. The left forefinger, the right forefinger. This represents the sky. It's like this, which is the mudra of Vairocana. So these 4 symbols or marks representing the 4 empowerments. And the second is the 4 divisional marks. So divided from this, the quote, the 5 fingers separate, change into the clapped Vajra fist, Raise them to become the Vajra triangular point, and the forefinger symbolizes the sky. And for the Vis empowerment, it represents the empowerments common to the 5 Buddhas. For secret empowerment, it symbolizes that bodhicitta on the tongue are undivided. For the wisdom empowerment, it represents that merging bliss and non-thought, the 3 of them. And for the 4th empowerment is the root mark of the 4th empowerment. This is the same as before. It's about the same. So these are all talking about mudras. And the 4 speech marks during the Vis empowerments is using kala sha'a that dwells at the apex. And for the secret empowerment is yalolawa at the throat chakra. For wisdom empowerment, I-wang maya at the secret chakra. I to represent wisdom, the character I, the character Wang to represent skillful means, and the character Ma to symbolize Mahulaka, the great greed, and the character Yawa to symbolize the slow breathing that can appear. And for the 4th empowerment, you use Om Ahom. That are all the body, speech, and mind. That's the mark of the 4th empowerment. And in each of the empowerment, there are some characters to represent it. And by receiving the empowerment 16 times, it can protect against hindrances. So skillful means, and wisdom 8 times 8 is 16. 8 times 8 is 64. Or 8 plus 8, the same as 16 protections. All these wordings are very difficult to explain. In the past, the Guru taught how to form the mudras. For Vis empowerment, it was like this, slightly different from the Lamdre in Sakyapa. For the Vis empowerment, it was like this, sometimes like this, a little bit like the invisible mudra of Marici Bodhisattva. As I remember, this is for the Vis empowerment, the mudra like this. And for the 2nd empowerment, the Guru taught me like this. Flowers, the shape of a half-open lotus blossom. This is the symbol of the 2nd empowerment. And the 3rd empowerment they use the sign of Vairocana Buddha. And for the 4th empowerment, forming like a ball, which represent the great perfection. This is what the Guru taught me. This is first empowerment. This is the second empowerment. The third empowerment is like this. The fourth empowerment is like this. 4 mudras, slightly different from what they are talking about in Lamdre. And there are many more mudras that Grandmaster doesn't dare to form, like the subjugation mudra or the exorcism mudra. But nowadays, I don't dare to form it because nowadays people use this sign to insult people. Actually, that was a mudra. I don't know what's happening with this society that now it's spread all over the world. We use that finger to insult people. I only form the one that's facing down. So it's very strange. We form it like this. I form the one facing or pointing down. So the forefinger and the ring fingers are hooking each other, and then the thumb is pressing on the pinky. This is called the Vajra finger. When you make offerings to the gods and goats, you have to chant the golden winged birds, all the yaksas and wandering ghosts, let them be sprinkled with nectar. And then you use this mudra to draw a character home on a cup of water, and then you sprinkle the water in order to make it effective. This is called the Vajra finger. And then if you point it upward, then there would be a subjugation mudra. So this is a mudra that's a little bit difficult to form. But this way is very easy to form. This is the easier, the simple version. For the subduing Mara mudra. So if there's Mara coming and you form this mudra and point to the Mara and recite the subduing Mara mantra, then the Mara will run away. So this is a very useful mudra, but nowadays the whole society use it to insult people. And there's another mudra that was taught by my guru. It was like this. And this is also subduing Mara mudra. This is also a subduing Mara mudra. And if you point to the front, this is a triangular Mara subduing mudra. And if there's Mara coming, then you transport your chi to the fingers. And the Mara would disappear by itself. If Mara is standing right in front of you and you form this mudra, Mara will disappear. If you use if you have power and you use this mudra and point to a flying bird in the sky, the bird would fall to the ground. So you form this mudra and chant mantra, the bird will fall down. And you form this mudra and you point to fish swimming in water, the fish will stop. It's like being nailed down, will not be able to continue to move. So the forefathers have done this kind of things. When a bird is flying in the sky and he uses a finger and point at it and it falls. So mudras also have power. So when you form this mudra and if you're disturbed by maras, now you know the mudras. This is called the triangular mudra, pointing directly to Mara. Then the Mara will disappear. So this is what I especially teach you today, a very special teaching. Else, you form the Vajra finger mudra, Vajra mudra, and pointing at him, and then you recite Hom, 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 Pe, or Hom, Hom, Pe, and he would disappear. Now you know. You form this mudra and you recite Hom, Hom, Pe. Or you form this mudra to subdue Mara and you also recite Hom, Hom, Pe. And the Mara will disappear. So it talks about falling onto the both methods and wisdom wise side, divided into 3 stages: the early, the middle, and the ending part. So how do you? So to protect against, to eliminate filths. These are all titles that would be explained later. So guard against the leaking of the light drops, and to guard against the 6 leakings and the 2 hindrances. I apologize, I missed this whole part. It's talking about the guarding against non-leaking. And Grandmaster is the non-leaking sage. So in the middle stage, it does talk about guarding against the 6 leaking. talking about the initial stage. After receiving instructions from the Guru,
其前世先造引之因，此是欲生引之六言时，乃报应身心苦痛及丧命之果，能轻毁相续中禅定及劫受，如云遮日，故称引。复次，有些补特迦罗，若遇六言然不生饮难，为系未造因之功故。譬如虽浇水施回，五种亦不生芽；若先造因，而无六言亦不生饮。难过患，如无土地顺源具足之种子，此是大医师所言。是故因缘和所生之因有六事。这个因啊，这里面所提到的因，它这个就是很奇怪的。这个明明很好解释的东西，他故意弄一个新的名字。
Oh, it's talking about something very strange here. It's talking about shadow. What is that? It's actually obstructions. They're talking about this familiar things using strange terms. All of a sudden they use this character shadow, trying to use a new term, but there's no need to explain it. So all the obstructions or hindrances throughout your spiritual cultivation, they could just use the word hindrances, but instead they use shadow so that you don't know what he's talking about. So all kinds of obstructions and sufferings or things that take your life, they're all considered as hindrances. It's talking about when the affinity has come together. My Guru also said that whatever causes that you create, then it would result in whatever effect. So that's cause and effect. However, if you create a cause, but there's no affinity, then it will not bear fruition. So my Guru taught me that your seed, and the seed needs some soil and water and fertilizer, and with the sunshine, with all these affinities, then the seed will sprout and grow to become a tree. Then it would become a fruit. So if you create a cause, but you don't have the affinities or the causes and conditions, then it is as if the seed is on a cement ground, on a cement floor. There's no nutrition, nothing. So it's impossible for the seed to bear fruits. So we want to avoid the causes. That's why Grandmaster had said before, whatever things you do, you visualize. At the ground there is a lotus blossom, and you're standing inside the lotus blossom, and the lotus encloses to envelope you. So what does this mean? You're performing this mudra, or you're doing this cause that would bear fruition eventually. But when you enclose yourself in a lotus blossom, then you will never get the fruit. Then you're separated from all affinities outside, all conditions outside. So in that situation, there will be no fruit. So only the cause but no effect. Then that would be called unrecorded. So it's not recorded. So that's the reason. So it's kind of concealed. That would be the best explanation. So in summary, the cause is the preliminary, and the affinity is if you meet with the right conditions, then you would bear fruit. Some sentient being or bodhicharo, in their past life, you have created some obstructions. So in this life, when you meet with the 6 conditions, because in the past life you have created the cause, and in this life you encounter the affinities or conditions, then it can result in the suffering of your body and mind, or even the fruition of losing your life. Because in your past life you have killed lots of beings. So in this life, if you meet your enemies, then you are killed by your enemies, because you have created the cause of killing in your past life, and in this life you encounter the victim of your deed. Then you suffer the murder by that enemies. However, if you don't encounter him or her, then you don't have the affinity that would result in that fruition. So the cause that you created in the past life can also affect your meditation and spiritual experiences. Like the clouds that's blocking the sun. So that's hindrances, obstruction. That's what it meant. So in our meditation, when you meditate, you also encounter obstructions. Why? Because when you meditate, you will always encounter a woman standing in front of you, and the woman is extremely beautiful, so that your heart keeps fluttering, keeps moving. And strangely, every time I meditate, this woman always standing right in front of you, and you cannot get rid of her. And she always gets your attention. You cannot enter into samadhi, so that's a hindrance, right? And some people, when they meditate, he would see someone chasing after him with the knife, wanting to chop your head off, and you're so scared. So this kind of hindrance. And someone else in meditation and see lots of arrows shot toward him, so that he suffer in body and mind, and it's impossible for him to enter into meditation. So this is affinity from the past life, hindrances that obstruct you. So you feel suffering in your meditation, things that cause suffering in your meditation. So that's due to the affinity. There's 6 of them. So if you breach the samaya vow, then there would be the shadow of the samaya and the shadow of ghosts and gods. So you're being disturbed by gods and ghosts. The shadow of bad friends. So you encounter bad friends that influence you. The shadow of diet, food and drink. Of course, food and drink are different, as interesting. The red ones would make you get fire or heat, inner heat. And the green colored food, it's cooling. Yellow colored food and drink is nutritious. The black food, black colored food, will strengthen the kidneys. That's what you said. So even foods can affect you. It's true. Some people cannot eat this, cannot eat that. And some people, if they force themselves to eat it, it can die from it. It's called allergy. Like for Qing, whenever she eats pipa, 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 pipa. Pipa, which is loquat. Whenever Fo Qing eats loquat, that her esophagus would shrink, and then she cannot breathe. That's the sign of allergy. That's allergy. Lots of kids are allergic to peanuts, that they have to be sent to the hospital. And we didn't know. And we give her pipa, and she could not breathe, almost could not hardly breathe. Just pipa like that. But your dad had no problem eating pipa, eating loquat. She's not scared of eating anything. I eat everything. Only diamonds I don't eat, and gold, and also the dusters. Diamonds too expensive, but gold, I do drink gold. You know, they put gold flakes inside the alcohol or Japanese food. They use some gold dust on top of food, so we eat them. But of course, we cannot eat a kilogram of gold. So I have no taboo. I eat everything. But nowadays, like Jaden and Jin, it's like Jaden's allergic to peanuts. So that's the shadows of food and drink. So if you eat something that's disagreeable with you, you cannot meditate, then you have to go to the toilet all the time. So the shadow of locations, that's because of geomancy, or like there's negative energy where you live, or due to ghosts inside the house. Of course, that would affect your meditation. And the shadow of corpse, what's that? It talks about weather or holidays, the effect of this. So dates also create effects on seasons. So that's why I asked His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, what do you practice? And he said, in the morning I practice Tara, Dharma, and at night I practice protectors. So protectors should be practiced at night. You cannot do it upside down. If you do Tara practice at night and the protector practice in the morning, then that's not right. So at the daytime you practice your yidam, at night you practice your protector. So that's due to time. Obstructions due to time. Hindrances due to time. So in the dating information center, I was asked, what kind of lady do you like? I don't know. Well, what is the common trait of all the ladies that you have liked? She wanted to get a date. So I kept thinking, and then I discovered I have liked many girls, but the only common trait is that they all don't like me. So now they have this dating group or associations. Composition. This is only meaningless in Chinese. 520.
我说错，因为小三是永远除不尽的。520除以3等于173.33333，无数的3。你看，前面一个7，后面全是小三。小三是除不尽的，
The number 520 divided by 3, but 520 means I love you, and 3 is like a mistress, so it's only meaningful in Chinese. You know, something natural, not quite strange, which is like this. Although you can never eliminate the 3 or the third parties, that each third party is independent. So in I love you divided by 3, 3 is like the third party or the mistress. So 520 represents love, and then divided by 3, it's equal 173.3333333. But I discovered that each of the 3 or the third party is independent. And the former third always wants to purge the next third. I don't know. You can, in love, you cannot accept even a grain of sand in your eyes. And Tibet is so good because it's okay to have one husband and several wives, or one wife and several husbands. That's how Tibet was. And a poor family, they just marry one wife and being used by 6 brothers together. So one wife and many husbands, because they are poor, so they can only get one wife. That's how it was in Tibet. Or the royalties, they have lots of wives. Who was such a jerk to set a law about one wife and one husband, and then if you get more than one, then you violate the law? Who was that jerk? It's fine in the earlier times, but now in the republic time it's not allowed. Then I don't want any republic. Honey, this is my FB and Line password. Oh, you have such cold hand, let me warm it. Oh, you look skinny, let me take you out to eat. Oh, I have bought some airplane tickets, let's go on a trip. And here's my credit card, you can use all you want. And this kind of man only exists in museums. So the husband that you encounter today is your shadow or obstructions from your past life. So the wife that you encounter in this life is very possibly the shadow from your past life. That's the affinity that would obstruct your spiritual cultivation. A man said, before meeting you, my world was black and white. After meeting you, my world has become all black. So that's a hindrance. Those are hindrances. A lifeguard saved a woman, and then they were dating. And someone asked the lifeguard, "So your marriage must be very romantic because you saved her life." And he replied, "After I saved her, she floated. And then we got married, and now I'm sinking." A wife asked her husband, "How come you leave work so late these days?" And the husband said, "Oh, because I'm thinking of promotion." Because in Chinese, promotion or getting a raise sounds like a girl's name, so the wife just kicked him. Women are really hard to please, and Sue was not here. This one is talking about wine. Human life is like a glass of wine with all different tastes. So when you're happy, drinking wine is it's pleasing, and when you're sad, it is grieving. So human life is like wine. It's sweet and sour and or tart. And it's also like drinking wine, sometimes awake, sometimes drunken. So just walk your own life, whether it's bitter or not, you know it. Whether it's suffering or not, you know it yourself. Whether you're awake or drunken, you know it yourself. So as long as they don't create hindrances, that's fine. Something that you've heard before. Xiaoming made a mistake, and his mom asked him to kneel in front of the Guan Yin and repent. And then, if Guan Yin forgive you, then you're relieved. And then when mom turned her head, he's already sitting there eating. Because yeah, of course, I told Guan Yin sister, I was wrong. I want to eat now. And then Guan Yin's right hand is forming this okay. English is not hard. This is how I learned my English. What is dad? Father. It's all pronounced using Chinese characters. Mother is mother. Brother. This is also only meaningful in Chinese. Mouse. Right? It's closed, right? Cheese. Dance. Police.
小姐叫 Miss， 知识叫 Pose， 眼睛叫 Eyes。我的英文 very good，very good。
My English is very good.
我学英文是这样子写。
That's how I learned my English, using Chinese characters to as the phonetics.
Mani Padme Hum.
Oh, Mani Padme Hum.